Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We are live. It is Monday night. It is 8 p.m. And I'll tell you what, we are back. The Live Lounge returns after a week's hiatus because of the Grand Slam of Darts in Wolverhampton, and we are ready to rock. We are ready to roll, and we have got plenty to talk about this evening. Myself, Phil Bars, and Dan Simpson are here. How are we doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's hard not to be, isn't it? Like, it's that time of year, isn't it? Like, we'll get through it, but I thought we had a really, really good Grand Slam. I think it was like literally from day one. I think there was lots of interesting things happening, loads of fun stuff, very entertaining. You couldn't really ask for much more, really. We got a bit of everything. We're obviously, Players' Championship finals just a couple of days away. I'm pilgrimaging. It's a bloody long drive, Philip, but it's worth it. So Thursday morning, I'll be setting off down to Minehead. So it's a big week this week, and I'm all about it. I think it's feeling like that time of year, isn't it? All the Christmas things are in the shops, the decorations are starting to go up, the lights are going up everywhere. We're nearly at the World Championships. It's all very cool. Yeah. How was your week in Wolverhampton?
It was all right. We'll come to that manual. But anyone think that you're asking me to step in?
Nah, I think it's about time, innit? It's not far off now. Feeling about right.
Yeah, no, look, Minehead was good. As always, look, Minehead was good. It will be good.
Wolverhampton will be good. Wolverhampton
was good. That the Slam throws up many things, which we'll talk about shortly. Plenty going on. You know what the media room's like. No one's seen each other for a while, so you get chatting and so on. Some interesting chit chat in and around. There's a few things that was said that I'm going to pick up on. I know I might be reading between the lines and reading them wrong, but it's one of those ones where there is plenty going on. I'll tell you what, the chat room is absolutely rammed already. Malachi is in. Don't worry, we will talk about Crystal Reyes later on. Daniel, how are we doing? Joel is in. Dal, he stepped in, and I love that. How are we doing? Fraser, hope you are good, my friend. Darts at home, how we doing, mate? Kieran, Adam, how we doing? Always a pleasure. Mark K is in. Yeah, we are back. Dixie, how we doing? Marcus, Shouty, Warren, it is Ram. James, Wayne, how we doing, my friend? David is in. James says, Live Lounge, baby. Yes, we are there. Dan disappeared for a second there. Where were we? George is in. How we doing? How we doing, Paul? Hope you are good. Andy, how do? We'll talk about Lucas Fennick in a bit. So yeah, we've got plenty to talk about there. Michael is in from the States. Whereabouts are you across the pond? How we doing, Rob? Good to have you in. Oh, I tell you what, it is absolutely rammed. Rob is in. Connor, how we doing? Adam says, good evening, gents. Rob says, lads. You know. Yeah, Eddie did drop a ball. We'll talk about that. Vin the Vampire is in. Someone's commented on the yellow top. How are we doing? I've got us all black ones, and I ordered a yellow one just for effect to see what it was like. But I think the general consensus is it looks all right.
It's a bold statement, Philip, and I'm here for it all day long.
Ohio, cool, mate. Cool, good to have you in.
Arizona, Toronto, Ohio. I think we are Mr. Worldwide today. We've gone global in the first 10 minutes today.
Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 405.
Absolutely.
Teresa is in. Bright, but look, let's jump straight in. Let's go straight to the Slam, and then we can feed off of everything from that. James is in on Twitch as well. Good to have you in. Bob, how we doing? So let's go straight to the Slam, because everything we're then going to talk about kind of comes off of that, because after 9 days of darts, there are plenty of talking points, but it all revolves around one thing, and that thing is the Grand Slam of Darts. First of all, chat room and Dan, your assessment of the tournament overall.
I thought, I honestly thought it was a really good tournament. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that the first couple of days were really good, showed lots of promise. Obviously, we saw some seeds falling, we saw some upset results. I thought that, and we talked about it quite a bit on the Fallout show, and once we got into the sort of the Monday and Tuesday where often there's a lot of shit games, and there is, if you look back in the history of the Slam, like that Monday and Tuesday, it can really underwhelm, and I don't think it did. We saw big performances from people that were already out but still turned up and put a really good performance in. We saw people like really fighting and clawing for it, and I thought it was really, really impressive. Really impressive. I thought the back end, I think we were, in terms of semi-finals, we were pretty much where we expected to be. I think, I don't think there's a shock there. I think we, when we sat and predicted it last Monday, I think between the two of us, we had the four, didn't we? I think you had Gezi and I had Noppet, and we both had the Lukes. So I don't think we got any surprises towards the back end, because it sort of went where we thought it was going. But I thought we were entertained along the way. We got a 9. There was a lot of stories come out of it. Michael Smith, winning on TV, which is a big change. Ricky Evans going on a bit of a run. Lucas Venig saving his tour card is a story. And there was a lot of real stories that came out of it. And that's if you don't go all the way back to round 1 and talk about Bo and everything else. So yeah, I thought it was really good. Top notch.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like I say, there's some good, there's some bad. Look, more good than bad. Like, I still think the tournament has lost its identity.
Correct.
But I'm not going to go in too much, because there are changes coming next year. So I don't think we can judge it now, because we want change, and change is coming, and change is good. So I'm pleased that we don't know the exact changes yet. We know there's going to be 16 groups next year, which eliminates some of those dead games, because the Monday and Tuesday there was too many dead games for my liking.
I didn't feel like there was many as normal. I don't know. I'd have to have a look back over. But yes, there is. There's always some. But I didn't think there was as many as normal this time round.
I think pretty much both days, out of the 8 games, it was 4 and 4. 4 meant something, 4 didn't.
Yeah, yeah, possibly. Possibly.
I tell you what, I know there's a lot of people being a little harsh on MVG here, saying disappointed again. Disappointed with MVG. Look, he's lost in the second round, but he's lost with a 96.5 average. Okay, it's not amazing, but I don't think that's particularly poor either.
No, he's also been knocked out by one of the best. Whether you think he's box office and entertaining, one of the best players in the world this year by some distance, and a semi-finalist. Like it's the luck of the draw, that, because I think if Michael picks up a number of other second round games, then I think he comes through. I think he comes through. In all honesty, the majority of those second round competitors that would be available to him. I just think he's been unlucky that Danny Noppet is one of the best, most on form players in the world for the last year, and he was a semi-finalist, and he's just met him too early in the tournament.
Well, I look at it. I look at that second round, and it is luck of the draw. Granted, that Michael Smith won with an 88, Ricky Evans won with a 93, Gerwin Price won with a 96, Scott won with an 89, and Vanek won with a 93.
This is it.
So he run into a good performance from Danny Noppet. We'll come on to that. Look, I think the heartwarming stories for me, there was a few before we touch on everything else. I thought Ricky Evans was brilliant. It was good to see Ricky do what he done. Michael Smith, I am so pleased for him. The performances wasn't there, but you have to win somewhere to get that confidence, and to see him get to the quarterfinal, I loved. I thought Bo was brilliant. I think Alexis Toilo's still throwing.
He's not finished yet.
There was so many stories. Yeah, Jurgen van der Velde was brilliant as well. I agree. Connor Scott has single-handedly saved his season. At one point, it was looking like it was going to be a disaster, and he's kind of covered the money that he would have got by not qualifying for Minehead is the thing. So that was good. I felt sorry for Van Veen. He's won his first 2 games and then gone out on leg difference. And I know this sounds harsh. He only beat Lisa 5-4, and in the group where everyone else has done Lisa 5-0, that feels like a defeat. And ultimately, that's cost him not punishing Lisa like the other 2 did.
Unfortunately, that's how it, if you're only in a small group and you only play each other once, like every leg matters, and that's why it's important to constantly be focusing and to really attack those games like the other two did.
Yeah, 100%. Stephen Bunting not winning a game and visibly frustrated was interesting. Martin Lukeman seems to have issues technically at the moment. Damon Heta not getting out of the group. Aspinall not getting out of the group. There's so many talking points and stories off of this, but that's why we love the group games, because it creates and manifests chaos.
Yes. And we did get a bit of chaos. We didn't get loads of chaos, but we did get a fair lump, I think. We did get some, we did get some shocks. We got some people going out that maybe we didn't expect to go out early, and there was some upsets. I think, but the one I don't think you might. I apologize if you missed him off there, but I was really surprised to see Johnny Clayton go out. And not even be in it, when it comes to his third game. Like, I was really shocked. I thought Johnny would do really well and turn up. He's been one of the best players this year, consistently making the back end of TV tournaments, and I fancied him to do well. I think James Wade, again, I was really surprised by. I thought he got the way the draw worked. I thought he made a semi-final, and in all honesty, it's because I thought he finished where Gezi Price did in the group, and did basically. I just thought, well, those two are I thought it's the same route for James Wade, but I just think that that opening game against Stefan Belmont, it just sort of completely took him off his step, to out of his stride, and he couldn't quite capture it back. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, 100%. I just missed one there. Ray is in from Nova Scotia, Canada. Good to have you in, my friend. Pleased you could join us. So, Johnny, it's not dartitis. We did some digging. So the issue with Martin Lukeman is it's almost a bit like Jules, where it's not dartitis that you can't let go of him. He's struggling to be able to feel the darts in his fingers. He can't feel them.
Ooh, like almost like a numbness, almost.
Yeah, like he physically could not feel the darts in his hand.
Wow.
That's the information that we were getting, that he couldn't feel the darts, and that's why he switched to a grippier set, hoping he might have got something.
Hold them a bit better.
Yeah, that was the information that we were given.
Interesting.
On that one. So that hopefully he can sort that out. Alex Bowman isn't overrated. Look, it didn't go his way, but almost because he didn't expect to be there is the thing. That Alex Bowman is on this journey, in this process, and getting here wasn't on the radar, shall we speak, and he's looking at Ali Pally, getting ready for that, and this is just a blueprint to get there. It's just a blip in the road. Alex Bowman is a class operator. But obviously from the group stages, then all eyes are on the knockout stages, and look, they were on a collision course the whole tournament. Everyone was expecting it. And we got the final that we all thought would happen. Which was interesting.
I think, like I said, I enjoy it. Some people say they're sick of it. I'm not. I could watch it every day. I could watch it 7 days a week.
Well, it was interesting that what was said afterwards, that if people are bored of it, then someone's got to stop us. And
exactly. That's exactly what it is. It really is. And that's what I was, so on the fallout, we talked midweek last week, and I at the time, obviously, he'd matched his way through to a semi and was on finals day. And I was sort of theorizing around what it would mean if Gezi could win it. And I genuinely thought that what it does is it changes the whole of the narrative, because so much what we have termed, I don't think we haven't introduced it to the live lounge, but Lukage, which is the over focusing on just two players, is the amount of Lukage that goes on in darts media at the moment. And I thought, well, if if Gezi can win that, it changes the narrative going into Ali Pali. It means that it's not just a 2-horse race. There is someone else that can win majors and put their hands on him, and he comes into it with loads of form, and that was the only reason that I thought it would be really interesting. If someone like Gezi, if a big name capable of winning pots could come through and win something this close to the Worlds, then again I thought it might just take the edge off some of the leakage that we are going to get for the next month.
Yeah, Andy, don't panic. We will come on to the world number 1 race, but officially Luke didn't go to world number 1 until today. So we're doing things in chronological order. I know we all get excited and go early, but officially the PDC don't update their rankings until the day after the tournament's finished. We'll come on to that. Don't worry about that. So yeah, look, I thought Luke Humphries. I thought Luke Humphries was the best player in the tournament until the final. And I think
that is an accurate assessment. I think certainly through, he pissed his group, came through, the knockouts with averages of 108.5, 105, 106 and a bit, like rattled through those matches, never looked in doubt, always just looked like he had to get to the final and then things would go from there. And, I suppose, after coming out the group, Littler hasn't averaged less than 100. He's gone ton plus 4 games in a row in the knockout stage. Arguably we saw a better level from Humphries through that knockout stage. We saw the 9 as well, which is obviously impressive. But the most impressive thing you can do is win a final, and I think that's where the tough work is done. And these two are going to continue to try and best each other in finals. I firmly believe.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I was really impressed with Luke Humphries. Well, I'm going to talk about Luke Humphries because obviously then we've got loads to talk about Luke Littler. But I look at the averages that he put in, like the knockout stages: 108, 104.98, 106.25, then 99.56 in the final. And I just think there was a couple of moments in the final that didn't go his way. There was one early on when he missed darts, I think, to go 6. I can't remember exactly, but he missed, I think, 4. Was it a 72 or something like that? And then he missed on 25. He missed the big number and only got 1 at a dart. And then Luke takes out the 160 and so on. There were a couple of moments where Luke Littler's brilliance punished the rare mistakes from Luke Humphries, and there weren't many of them. But when you are at that top level, which these two both are, let's have it right. These two are both at the very top, and right now, head and shoulders above the rest. 1 dart here, 1 dart there, 1 miss here, 1 miss there. They are both capable of punishing those mistakes, and that's what happens.
Yeah, like that is exactly what it is. You can't blink. And when these two play each other, especially in leg play, when they are just going at each other, if you blink and you get a couple behind, you're in bother because they're so relentless. And Humphries he made more mistakes, and he didn't put as much pressure on Luke where he should have done. And there was a few legs where Luke Littler was allowed to cock up and there wasn't enough pressure on him. Like, he was allowed to miss things and there wasn't enough pressure, and then he could come back and have a second go at it and that I think was the key. Is I felt like whenever Humphries made a mistake, Littler was breathing down his neck, and he just didn't get at Littler enough, and he didn't shake him, and he didn't make him question what was going on and how he was going to get through it. And it by the end, whilst it was a good final, and 16-11, there's not a huge difference in the averages, but it looked comfortable, I thought, by the end. I don't know if it might have felt comfortable for Littler, but it certainly looked comfortable. It just didn't look threatened.
I think there was times in that final where he would have felt it, but it was the the maturity in one way. There is a chink in the armor, which we'll talk about. I'm not saying it's a right chink here, by the way, but there is definitely a chink. But just the way Littler deals with things, like against Danny Noppet. Danny Noppet was 9-6 up, and then he missed darts, I think, for 10-7. And then from that moment, there was only one winner because he went through the gears. Noppet still averaged a ton, but couldn't get near him. And so on. Against Josh Rock, it was close. Littler found extra, and so on. Those key moments when the afterburners need it, he has it at the moment. And I say at the moment because at some point, the same as it happens for all sportsmen, when you go to the well, at some point it won't be there. And that's not just Luke. That's for all sportsmen. That when you've got that supersonic gear, and it's great when it's there, there will be an occasion where he goes to the well and it's not there.
Yeah, you're right. And it's risky to rely too much on that. That is a problem. Like, it is risky to rely too much on having that, and you've got to take control quickly.
Yeah. Anthony is in. It was good to see you, my friend. Love that. Love that. But the way, remember, this is the first Premier, Major, whatever you want to call it, Luke has defended. And I remember Luke Humphries being in the same situation last year. When he went into that run of 3, he just said, I need and I want to defend one of them, because there is a different kind of pressure defending a title. It's all right winning it once, but when you are defending it, there is an expectation and a level, maybe not within, but certainly from external sources, whether that's media that we do or the broadcaster or so on. There is an expectation that you've got to defend it. And the fact he's now done that ahead of the World Championship, I think it's a big thing. Yeah,
and it's also such a big time. Again, there's other ones, other trophies, and there's UK Opens, and there's Premier League, things a bit earlier in the year, but this really is, they are thick and fast. We've got a matter of days, a handful of days. We haven't got a week between big TV tournaments at the minute. We finished with somebody lifts a trophy on Sunday, and we were in the car on Thursday getting back down. Like it's thick and fast, and it's the perfect time of year to be able to remind yourself and everybody else that you can defend, earn, still keep turning up and being the number one.
Yeah, 100%. It's real interesting, and I thought the media on stage was interesting as well. Look, Luke and Luke have got so much respect from each other, and look, at the moment, like I said, these two are head and shoulders. That we go into the World Championships, and as Luke Humphries rightfully said, if I win the Worlds, as long as Littler doesn't get to the final, I think he will go back to world number 1. Wait, I need to do some chat room editing.
Is it getting rowdy?
Yeah, a little bit. There we go. Right. Anyway, back. Where were we? Yeah. Look, these two are going to go to war a lot. Of that, there's no question that they are going to be in the back end of everything if they continue to play to this level. So we go to the Worlds with the previous 2 winners and the world number 1 spot still on the line. So there's a lot to digest.
Certainly is
into this World Championship.
Yeah, and again, and there's still time for it to change. There's still darts to be played. There's still trophies to be won. There's still shocks to be had. There's still big names with challenging first round matches, and there's still more. The people that we've seen have a tough time of it. That tough time could get tougher, and the people that we've seen on a bit of a resurgence that they can head a little bit further up, and it's very exciting, and it's going to get more and more interesting as things come on.
It's interesting that Andy says, is there a fear factor? Taylor had it, MVG had it, Humphries had it. I don't think so. Personally, no, because I think that the finals have been close. Where if Luke Humphries had been absolutely trashed in them, maybe. But you look, the Grand Prix, I get the scoreline says 6-1, but it was closer than that. As in, don't get me wrong, Littler won the big moments, but Humphries was always in the game. He was in this final as well. We're talking a couple of darts here and there, and it's a completely different outcome. So, look, I personally think there is a bit of a fear factor between the two Lukes and the rest of the field. That I think the rest of the field have got issues dealing with the two Lukes, but I think the two Lukes are right up there in terms of going head to head at each other for a long, long time.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that I think you saw a lot of it, and I don't know whether it's a good thing. Like I'm not sure whether Luke Humphries appeared too happy and jovial and joyful, and there was a bit too much camaraderie for me on Sunday when we got to the final. Like, it feels like that should have been real, like really sort of down to business, and it definitely looked like Littler was the most dialed in of the pair of them. And yes, there is of course some interaction, and it's played in a sportsman-like way, but Humphries didn't seem as dialed in. It seemed too, I don't know, happy and jolly, like to really break the killer instinct out. There is probably going to need to go toe to toe with, like, as the pair of them do.
No, Johnny, Humphries won the Premier League. Now, the interesting bit that I thought at the end was, and I get where Luke's coming from, where, as in Humphries, this is where he said that he never felt like world number one. And it's the first time he said it, and fair play to him for keeping it in, because obviously that feeling must have been there for a while, that within the media, it's always been about.
And it's just unfortunate timing, that, isn't it? Because if he does what he does any other time apart from the last 2 years in the history of darts, then he is the most talked about dart player in the world for that year or 2 years or whatever. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, he is, because it is just unfortunate for him. Or not unfortunate, fucking hell, unlucky. It's unlucky that the timing of which he has been the world number one, the media focus, especially the wider media outside of darts geeks like us, has been focused on another player. Now, that happens all the time, in different sports. That happens in golf, and it happens in tennis, and there are some people that are unlucky that they just happen to play the game, at the same time as some other players that kept their hands off things. And I just think it is what it is. Interestingly enough, I'm sure I read today, someone will keep me right, but I was doing, believe it or you won't believe me, that I was doing some research for this show, but I was reading something that the time that he spent at world number one is the third longest, if you like, single period. There's other people that have been world number one for more days, etc. But for someone to have just done it in one go, it's like the third longest individual spell.
Yes, something days.
Yeah, it's a good old, so he has had a good old run at it. He sits there, he's in the record books. I also think, really, what does it matter? Like, you are a world, you've won a world title. You've been world number one. You've earned a few quid. I think you are, I don't know. I don't know what else he would or could have expected. Yes, maybe a few more headlines in the newspapers, maybe, but really, why? What does that get you? They don't pay you to be in them. I don't know. And yeah, maybe there is just a feeling that all the attention's on you. But by the same token, I genuinely believe that he has at times, multiple times, benefited from being a player who manages to be the best player in the world and the world number one, but going under the radar a bit. He has not had the machine. He hasn't had the amount. He's playing an opponent who isn't a world number one, who's got more media commitments than he has, who's got more. And I think that, you know, he has got away with it in some degree, is because he hasn't had the pressure on him that would have otherwise been there, because people have looked, and it almost become forgivable to lose to Luke Littler. Like, it sort of don't really count in a way, because it's, you know, what could you do?
Anthony is in. How we doing? I hope the great state of Texas is good via the greatest city in the world.
We continue to be very global in our reach this evening, don't we?
I'm going to throw this out there, and many people will disagree. Some will agree.
This will be good.
For me, Luke Humphries is the best ambassador the sport has ever had. The way he's carried himself over these last 2 years, the way he's done his media, the way he promotes the sport, and so on, for me, he is the best ambassador the sport has ever had.
I will accept that. If we go by the fact that the job of the ambassador isn't just to generate and bring more fans to the sport,
which is not.
I think he has represented the sport incredibly well. I think he projects an image that is a very healthy image of a dart player, and I don't just mean that like he's, you know, not clinically obese, but I mean like he does present as a sort of, he present as a family man, as someone who you know, has his priorities in the right place. He seems quite wise. He seems like he's got his brain screwed on, and he's not dicking around and clarting about and doing things that he shouldn't. I don't think there's any risk of him being caught up in any scandal or anything like that, which is very good for the person that's going to be at the top of the game. He speaks very well. He's very honest. Yeah, I think he's a good egg, isn't he? And it's always good when you've got people like that at the top of the game, because it's not always the case, is it?
No, 100%. You know, there's a former two-time champion of the world, he who must not be named, that is an absolute scumbag. So, correct. But when we look at Luke Humphries, the way he conducts himself and so on, the way he speaks, look, in terms of that, Luke Littler has big shoes to fill. I'm not talking about on the board, because he does that better than anyone. But in terms of taking that mantle on now of being the world number one and doing the stuff that you have to do, he's got big shoes to fill.
Yes, yeah. But I do think that Luke, this isn't the start of his journey as a darts ambassador, and I almost think he has had, and this might not be very fair to say, and it might not be very fair on Luke Humphries, but I think Luke Littler has had a much bigger job in terms of how he represents darts, because he's so much in the mainstream.
Yeah,
and so much in, you know, the media. There's so much scrutiny on him in terms of his life and where he's going and what he's doing and what car he's driving and whether he's trusting, like the level to which he has to sort of play that game, and I just think he's so much different to, and I don't, it seems dismissive if we say, you know, there isn't the interest in Luke Humphries that there is in Luke Littler, because he hasn't got the story and there isn't the thing with his age and everything else. And therefore,
from that point of view, I completely agree that Luke Littler transcends to a completely different audience, and a different kind of pressure.
Doing this for years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree that it's a different kind of pressure that Luke Littler has over Luke Humphries in terms of that scrutiny. I completely agree, and the way Luke Littler has handled himself under the microscope of that scrutiny, again, has been incredible. That we've heard stories about paparazzi following him when he's only passed his driving test for 2 days and whatever. And like, what the fuck's that all about? So the different kind of scrutiny, 100% with you. And the way Luke conducts himself there is second to none. So between the pair, between the world number 1 and 2, we have got 2 great ambassadors in different ways for the sport, pushing the sport forward into different areas, new areas, and so on. That this is absolutely unreal for the sport. That there's 2 people, a bit like in tennis when we had the 4 horsemen, as it was back then, when you had Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, and Murray. We've got 2 that are right up there, transcending the sport to new audiences, new media, new territories, and so on, which is incredible for us as fans, you as fans, and everyone like that.
And there is space for more. You know, we could have 4, we could have 3. Like, there is definitely space at the top. I do believe at the top of this game for more. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, if over the course of the next 18 months or so, some, you know, 1 or 2 names really establish themselves in the top.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Does Littler have the record time being the quickest number off the top of my head?
Well,
yes.
Other than the first year of the rankings.
Yeah,
no.
other than, but there was no tour cards then. So yeah, I'm going to say 100%. How are we doing, Nicholas? Hope you're good. Oh, James, don't go. What's the matter? Boring? Us? But look, congrats. Now we can talk about Luke Littler.
I thought we were going to say now we can talk about James. Now he's gone. I mean, we can talk about him, call him all sorts of names.
Look, the Nuke going to world number 1 is he refused to call himself the best in the world until he was ranked number 1 in the world.
Now he's already doing it, isn't it?
Now he is. He becomes the hunted instead of the hunter. Now, again, only Luke can answer this. It's how he then switches the brain to going, I've caught them, I've overtaken them. Now let's stay there. It's a different mentality.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's something that really registers with him or not. I don't know if it. I don't know how much yes, he'll care to be there, and he'll be happy with the title. Like, of course, he's happy with the title, and of course, he wants to be there. I don't know if he just moves on to the next thing. I think that, like, he has achieved so much, and he's done so much, if you like, that's beyond what anyone's achieved before in the time scale that he has and at the age that he has and everything else. That I genuinely don't know if his mindset is just like next thing, because that's what we've seen so far. We haven't seen him dwell on his achievements, really. We've not really seen him dwell on his achievements. He doesn't tend to talk about them a great deal once he's done them. And I don't expect him to constantly reference the fact that he's world number 1, because I think there'll be enough people that do it anyway. And and therefore, because I think in his mindset, he's on to the next thing and on to the next thing. I don't think it's going to weigh too heavy on him. And I think now it's about defending things, and it's about, sustaining a long-term dominance at the top of the game. And there's a lot of people coming for him, and it's not just Humphries. It's Jan van Veen, and it's Josh Rock, and it's Getty Price, and it's there is a big list of people coming for him.
Well, it's not even that. Look at the young lads coming through the JDC that want to do the same as him at 16 and so on. That they over the next 5 years, I think it was Wayne said it in, I can't remember what part of the punditry it was, but he said, if you'd have asked me this question before Luke Littler, I'd have called you mad. Where now he thinks it's a possibility that within 4 or 5 years, we could have 4 teenagers in the semi-final at the World Championship. And I agree with him. That is not beyond the realms of possibility. No,
it's absolutely not at all. And the standard is going to continue. And I don't think people see, so a friend of mine is like son plays at a decent level, JDC. And he shared some Dart Connect screenshots. And I was like, blown. Like, these are averages like that we see on the Dev Tour and on the Challenge Tour. And these are like children. These are like 12, 13, 14-year-old children. And that's not one of them has done it. This is a tournament. I'm looking down and thinking, shit, this looks like a Dev Tour.
Well, you had I can't remember, my apologies, I can't remember the kid's name, but there was a 13-year-old that hit a 9 at the JDC at the weekend.
Yeah, mad, isn't it?
So it's like, look, could that happen? 100%. I'm going to say the one slight chink in the Luke Littler armor, and we've seen it before, and we saw it again this weekend, although he dealt with it better, when the crowd get on his back or irritate him, for that brief period, you can get at him. Like we saw it on the Euro Tour when the crowd got at him. Look, and we forget he's only a kid. He's only 18. He's not even been on tour 2 years. That will come in time. But right now, there is, and look, we're picking up this as probably at the moment the only chink in the armor, which is, if that's your only chink, which you can put right and you can learn to put right, which he will, but at the moment, that is the one slight thing that can go against him. That's not in his, like, that he doesn't. I
still think he can turn up not at it. Like what we saw. I mean, how he got through that match play, I will never get my head around. Because he repeatedly, over and over again, started too slowly. And gave too many legs away. And I do think that it's like, you can only, sooner or later you're going to have to go to the well and it won't be there. And I do think there is one of the chink in his armor. I think is sometimes, and I don't think it's on purpose. I don't think he's giving legs away. I just think there is he can be got at early, and if he can't turn it on, then it's going to be, he can make life tough for himself if he gives too many away.
Yeah. It's interesting. James, you can throw, James, by the other James, I know this isn't you, but the funniest bit is whoever's made that account think they're being funny, but one, I've got thick skin and genuinely couldn't give a fuck. And two, they had to subscribe to come into the chat room. And three, it helps with our engagement level. So crack on, lad.
Yeah, it's honestly the metrics are flying today. We're doing exactly. All right. So have a little look at it. You look in the back end. We're doing great.
Help our metrics. So
yeah, yeah. Make sure you stick around, watch the adverts, and then call me a baldy twat, won't you?
Yeah, 100%. But look, now he is world number one. If he's world number one on January the 3rd, how long does he stay there for? I say that because Luke Humphries could technically overtake him again at the Worlds. Might not. But if he does, if Luke Littler is still world number one on January the 3rd, how long does he stay there for?
In my opinion, he will break the Luke Humphries. He'll break that one. He'll go the 3rd of all time, like in terms of one long, like getting it and staying there for the first time. Yeah, I think he'll do two. He'll go beyond 2 years, I think, in my opinion. Because and I genuinely don't know after that, because I think like there is a lot of talent coming through, and there's also a lot of time there for other potential superstars of the game, whether they are or aren't currently on on the circuit and playing in these big TV events. But I think there's definitely 2 years there where I think other people will pick up a pot here and there, but I don't think they'll be able to replace him at the top. I think he wins that £1 million.
If he wins the million, then he's there for probably 3 or 4 years.
He'll still have 500,000 on there, won't he? So obviously, if you get 2 more millions after that, like that's when it'll start to get competitive. That's where you could potentially got a big swing, because he will technically be carrying a world championship on his ranking at half value, won't he? After that, So he will. That will make it harder for him to retain that number 1 spot, because he's going to come up against people that will get an opportunity to earn more while he's carrying a lot less. Yeah, I do think we're going to see at least a couple of years from him. Yeah, I think other people will win pots, but I think we're going to see a different approach. We've heard players talk about it, and it's ironic that we're off down there in a few weeks' time, or sorry, in a few days' time. I think we're going to see a different approach to the tour next year from some of the bigger players, and I think the Players' Championships are going to get a slightly different, or viewed slightly differently by some of the top players. And I think we're going to see players focusing a lot more on big ranking televised events and focusing on where the money is. And I think when you get a player, players doing that, you're gonna struggle to catch them out.
Well, let's play a quick clip from Luke before we touch on some more talking points.
Yeah, I am the best in the world. I can finally say it. World number 1. You are the best in the world. And then obviously to top it off, going back to back makes it even more special. Again,
on stage, you and Luke there with Polly at Sky, in a league of your own, do you agree with him that you two are literally right now the best 2 players, by far better than anyone else on the planet?
Yeah, obviously, I think we are. The finals show it, the stats show it. And like Luke said there, if everyone's getting bored of me and him, then someone needs to stop us, otherwise we're going to keep winning 1 and 2. We're always going to meet in the final if we get past our opponents, and long may it continue.
Love that.
Brilliant. And that's what I like. I genuinely think I think he enjoys it. I think he likes being challenged. I think he likes being pushed. I think he likes that level of competitiveness. I think sometimes we've seen him almost not getting bored, probably a bit, not the kindest way of putting it, but I think sometimes we have seen him get bored, when there's nothing coming at him and when he isn't being pushed. And again, in that long format as well, it's so difficult for players to keep focus for that length of time and to sustain the levels that he can stay. But it's just, it's very impressive. It's very exciting. And again, it's just more further examples of him conducting himself quite nicely and coming across very well, like a nice chap.
Yeah, someone asked, I can't remember who it was. Firesman says, if Bo wins the World Championship, she would instantly jump to world number 3. So
right, isn't it?
Casual, isn't it? Never
in the Premier League.
Never thought MVG turn down the Premier League might be a possibility. Johnny, I can categorically say here right now that you've got more chance of hell freezing over than MVG turning down a Premier League place.
It's just too valuable. Can't keep going on holiday to Dubai if you're in the Premier League.
Is there anyone that can win the world and overtake outside the Lukes?
Oh, and hit world number 1?
No.
Michael no. Wait
a minute. Let me look.
Yeah, technically, yes, but it would depend on some really rogue. If Michael Van Gerwen.
No, they can't. I've just done the tour card race. No, Anthony, they can't.
You sure?
Yeah. Because if you go to the tour card race, this has got first round money on. MVG is still £1 million behind Luke Littler.
And he's not. So if MVG was at the Players' Championship finals this weekend,
he could have technically,
and both the Lukes went out early, and Michael had a run, then it could have been mathematically possible. But because Michael hasn't qualified for Minehead this weekend, then that makes it mathematically impossible.
Yeah. So mathematically, no. I'm going to put this up on the screen. This, James, don't worry, mate. I know it's not you because you've been a long-term fan of the channel, mate. So don't panic. I put it up there so you know you were talking about. You've been a long-term person in the chat room. Don't worry about it, buddy. So yeah, in that respect, no, it is only Luke or Luke that can physically be world number one after the World Championships.
Which is mad, isn't it? Like and it demonstrates the level of dominance between those two players. Because when we get this £1 million, all of a sudden there's £500,000, if you like, newly injected into that ranking system. And other than those two, no one else can get close.
Yeah, Phil won't answer. I didn't see the question. Chat room's rammed tonight.
It is ridiculously busy tonight. I can't see like most of the stuff that comes through.
What was Gary's reaction when he was knocked out of the slam? Oh, I spoke to him. He was all right. Look, Gary's mentality is, I've lost, I'm going home. It's a simple.
Also, as well, like yes, surely he will have wanted to win.
100%. But
like, he hasn't looked at that draw and thought, "Yeah, I'll piss my way through here." Like I think he's realised that is not an easy draw. Like, and it wasn't made easy for him either. Like he played unbelievably well.
As soon as he lost to Coach Springer, he was up against it.
It took 108, 109 average nearly from Michael van Gerwen to beat him. So I don't think Gary's driving home thinking, mate, I've bottled I shitted out there. That was rubbish. It is what it is, really. I think he's done this enough times. He's been around the block enough to realise it.
100. This is an interesting one. When I talk about this in the world, Shay says someone needs to stop them, but the question is who. Now, for me, that there are a number of players that in a one-off game can beat Luke and Luke. We've seen that at the European Championships when Van Veen beat Luke Humphries in the final. Luke Littler lost. In a one-off game, they are beatable. The issue is, at the moment, do I trust the other players to go and average 105 time after time after time after time after time? No, I don't. That the difference is Luke and Luke do it game in, game out, week in, week out. Look, at the Worlds, I'm just picking two names here. Nathan Aspinall plays Luke Littler in the quarterfinal. Is Nathan capable of beating him? Yes. But it's the replication. They don't replicate it enough. And that's the difference. Can Gerwyn Price go and beat Luke or Luke? Yes. Can MVG go and beat Luke or Luke? Yes. But will they then back it up in the next round is the question. And that's the question.
Correct.
That's the conundrum.
And that is constantly going to be the problem, because I do think they drag so much out of their opponents. They're so hard to play, and the longer the format, the longer that it gets dragged out of them, and it's really difficult, and it's very difficult. We've seen them be beaten. Someone will know the stats somewhere. There'll be a geek. No, ChatGPT could probably work it out. Couldn't it? Is as to what the stats are on somebody beating one of the Lukes and then losing their next game. And I reckon that's fairly high. I reckon that the statistics will be fairly high.
And the other thing as well is set play doesn't favour them because. Right, leg on leg. We know that Luke Littler can run off 6 legs in a row. In leg play, he's 6-0 up and you've got a mountain to climb. In set play, it's different. It works differently. You haven't got to be good all the time. You only have to be good in the right moments.
Correct.
That's the difference. Gob, how we doing, lad? Good to have you in. Important question. Will Gary retire next year? No. We will see Gary play next year. Gary's not retiring. Don't get excited or anything like that.
Gob's being humble as ever.
So yeah, also at the Slam, we saw a potential successor to John McDonald. We've seen 2 in a few weeks. We saw Swiss Phil, Mr. Brzezinski, do the European Championships. Lewis Jones did pretty much the first half of the tournament here. John McDonald not in Minehead either. So plans are afoot.
Yeah, I want it to be interesting to see if we see anyone else in Minehead. Like, it'd be interesting to see who we see because it clearly seems that they're in a position of either trialing people or giving people room and space to develop and sharpen their craft a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see what we get at Minehead. I think some of the commentary or the comments haven't been particularly. I think that a lot of people just aren't happy with change, are they? And it wouldn't really matter who was going to do it. Some people would have a piss and a whinge and a moan about it. You're never going to please all the people all the time. And that's what the PDC will, no matter who comes and does that, they could have the Queen come and do it, and somebody would moan about it and say that they weren't important enough, or it wasn't. It is what it is.
Yeah, look, people's careers have to start somewhere, and people might not like it at the moment. People will improve and so on.
But you have to give people, and that is the very difficult thing. I think this is one of the. It's a very, very difficult job to allow people the space and the room to to develop it, because it's not. I don't think it's something that you just walking off the street and all of a sudden you're an expert at and do really well.
You beat me to it there. That I look at
to develop. You've got to do it.
There's not a conveyor belt of MCs.
No,
you look at boxing. The two biggest boxing promoters in the UK fly people over from America to even do their UK shows.
Yeah, there's a reason why two brothers have done nearly all combat sports MCing of any note for the last 25 years. And weirdly enough, there's that many. There's so few people of it, that are at the top level, that those lads are still very much employed all the time whenever they want to be. So it is very difficult, because it's a job that you can practice it behind the stage all day long. Whereas I firmly believe where you actually learn to do that job and get better and develop and create and imagery is actually physically doing the job. And I do think that the PDC have got it right in looking at opportunities in the early stages of tournaments, and in order to give people that opportunity, you have to let people develop it, because I think you can practice. What is it our friend says? You can't practice shitting yourself. And there we go. You can't practice shitting yourself. And I think sometimes repetition and practice and familiarity is the way to get over. You've got to give people and allow people to move past, doing that for the first time. And I think it's I think it's very naive. Some of the, just bullshit that I've seen in the last week or so, where you can't just expect that somebody drops out of the sky and all of a sudden they are. Because again, who are you comparing to? What's your expectation that you have some we keep a second slightly younger John McDonald in the box backstage somewhere? You've never seen him before because he's never you've never done it on stage before. Of course, he hasn't learned that craft, but he's an expert from day one. Piss off! And again, I just think come on, it's not like they've not ruled him out for the final. They've not they've given somebody an opportunity, and I think they will continue to give people opportunities to hone their craft and get better.
Someone asked why Swiss Phil is German, but it's a running gag that Dan Dawson was calling him Swiss Phil. I think either he was going on holiday or he was going to Switzerland. I don't know exactly, but Dan Dawson called him Swiss Phil on comms, and it's kind of stuck, and everyone called him Swiss Phil from there. The other thing that people aren't taking into consideration here, and I know there's a lot of love for Swiss Phil in the chat room. I love the guy to bits as well. But one, does he want to do it? And what I mean by that is, if he were to take the MC's job at the PDC, could he do the Euro Tour stuff? Probably not.
No,
because you can't get from Belfast to Graz in time for a session. So
no,
without asking Swiss Phil the question, would he want to do it? And I'm not putting words in his mouth because I don't know. Is maybe the PDC have asked him, and he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, again, people want different things. I'd like Kelly Brook to do it. I think that would be a great choice. I think she'd do a tremendous job. I think she's by far and away the best possible option. Would just be to get Kelly Brook to do it. Other people will think differently, but opinions are like arseholes, aren't they?
Off the back of the slam, is Danny Noppet the Premier League headache that no one wants?
I don't think it's a headache, mate, because he deserves to be there. I think, and unfortunately, I tell you what I do think as well is I think he's got a bloody good chance of just being in the top four. Like, there is a really good chance that he's just in the top four,
Well, he is up to world number 6 as it stands, with 2 TV tournaments to go.
And he is, what's that? 40 grand. Beans that in the World Championships, mate.
All of a sudden,
could just be in the top 4.
If you'd have said it a month, 6 weeks ago, you'd have said, yeah, Danny's, look, he's in and around, but I don't think so. Right now, he is becoming the headache that no one wants.
Because Danny Noppet is a headache when he plays the way he is, makes us, goes on these runs that he's had and does everything. That is a headache for the PDC. If he's ranked 6th, and you look like Danny Noppet has made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 semi-finals
on TV this year.
5 TV semi-finals. He's had the best year in darts of anybody that isn't called Luke. And if he's ranked, 6th in the world, and he's had that year, then it's you look a dick if you don't put him in. Like, you look like you just, you don't like the guy, so you've left him out because you don't like him. I don't think he makes that. I genuinely think by the time we come around to the Premier League, he's in the top 4. I have not seen enough from Stephen Bunting and Johnny Clayton that tells me that they are going to outperform Danny Noppet, because I don't think either of them will. Between now and the Premier League starting, I think Danny Noppet will pick up more money than both of those two.
How are we doing? Jacob, you're good. I think this Premier League is becoming interesting in terms of who they pick and then the reasons given for leaving players out. Like you said there, that Danny Noppet has made 5 TV semi-finals this year. Now, James Wade is in danger of missing out. He's made 2 finals this year. Big finals as well.
You could argue, I wouldn't, but you could argue that Noppet has a better shout than Wade. If let's say that they're both outside the top 4, for example, like they're in the top 10 or top 8, because you could say that Noppet's been consistent over the course of the year. He's made 5, he's gone late 5 times. He's on the telly regularly. The casual viewer is seeing him a lot more often on Sky Sports. It works against most people, probably not against James Wade, because James Wade is a former Premier League player. The casual viewer is very well aware of who he is, and he's made a couple of big finals. So I don't know. Some will make the case that it's one rather than the other. But again, for me, I think Noppet's going to take that question away. And then I think it's a tougher conversation, because then do you take I think what you're going to probably end up having to think of is, do you perhaps take someone like a James Wade over a player who has had like a very underwhelming year in like a Stephen Bunting, who after that world semi-final, like, yes, we saw a world semi-final from him, but we've seen very little since then. Very little since that world semi-final. Not only that, but the good stuff we have seen from him has been, quite a long way away. He got a couple of wins at the match play, but then, Grand Prix, European Championships, Grand Slam, like we've gone 3 or 4 in a row now where he hasn't shone in the way that Van Veen and Rock have shone. I do think Wade's still in the mix. I think Bunting, if he drops out of that top 4, which I think he will, I think he could be a casualty.
The interesting 2 for me are Gerwyn Price and Nathan Aspinall. Now,
I still can't get Nathan Aspinall into a genuine. You think it's interesting as to whether or not he's in the 8. I still can't get him into the conversation. I honestly can't.
I think you've underestimated Nathan Aspinall's season a little bit here. Now, he's won 3 European tours, 4 finals. And on TV, we've had 3 quarterfinals and a semi-final. I think you're perhaps underlooking his season a little bit. I'm not saying it's maybe as good as others, but I certainly think you've underestimated how good his season has been.
I don't think it's Premier League level, though, is it? Like, it's a solid season. And again, that best work was done at the very beginning of the year. Those
recency bias, I'll give you that.
Those 3 quarterfinals were all like before March. Sort of like up to so since I know we got the Premier League again, doesn't count for me. Like, it's a bit silly that it was a really silly season. I don't know how much you attach I don't know how much people attach the Euro Tour when thinking about the Premier League. I think if you want him in there, then you'll attach something to it and you'll say winner of 3 Euro Tour. Like, great. For me, I'm not so sure.
I think if Aspinall is anywhere from 14 up, there's a difficult conversation because someone's getting left out for him. And we'll come on to more.
Can we not just give Noppet or Wade Mr. Brightside as a walk-on, and then we've solved it?
We're going to talk about the Players' Championships in a minute. Everyone has seen the schedule.
I haven't.
Right.
I have.
What's that?
I said I have, really.
Now, if you're in the afternoon session, that is not a good indicator.
No, it's not. But I don't know. You win a couple of games and you solve that problem, don't you? As long as you win a couple of games, you're all right.
I think there could be a very pissed off world number 5. At the moment, I think Clayton misses out because he doesn't fit the boxes. And I would love Johnny in the Premier League, but right now I think he is one that misses out. But we've still got players and worlds to determine this.
Yeah, there is still quite a bit to do, isn't there? Like, there's still quite a bit to go, but it's gonna. I think it's gonna. You're right in that. I think there are going to be some big problematic conversations that the players are giving the PDC headaches that they don't want, because players that the PDC want in there aren't quite cutting the mustard, and players that might not be at the top of the list are making themselves appear to be solid candidates for the Premier League. So I do completely agree that the headaches are being created for the PDC that they might not want.
Look, whether we like it or not, there is a swing in demographics, players' age, and everything like that. Now, Johnny, I love Johnny Clayton to bits, but in terms of marketing and selling, if you put Johnny up against Rock or Van Veen, who ticks more boxes? It's Rock and Van Veen.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Because of the demographics and everything like that.
Yeah, but that is just, but again, what are you looking for in that? Because you've already sold out all your tickets anyway, aren't you? So I suppose you are just looking for TV viewers, aren't you?
Oh, not just TV viewers. You're looking at, and I hate that I'm saying this, but it does come into it. Social media numbers, social media demographics.
Oh, God.
But it does. But this is the world we live in now. Look at Super League, as in rugby. They grade teams on social media impressions and so on.
And that is, yeah, God, it's a sorry state of affairs, isn't it?
In the build-up, right, from Friday to Wednesday, you need people being spoken about online, creating a presence, and so on.
I know, but God, it's.
But I know you hate it, but you know I'm right.
It makes me very sad.
I know you hate it, but you know I'm right.
Yeah, I know. And I also, believe me, the irony of me saying that whilst streaming on YouTube is not lost on me either. Like, I'm not, I am clever enough to see that irony. But yeah,
I look at it like you've got young kids that love darts. They think you're cool because you're on YouTube.
Oh, mate. Not only that, but even all the kids' mates think I'm cool because I'm on YouTube.
Correct. And this is what I mean. This is the things that now play a part in this modern digital world that we live in.
Agreed. No, and you are right. You are right. And and see, the thing is with the Premier League, I do accept it for what it is. The Premier League, it is a exhibition. It's a traveling circus. It's a bit of fun. I really enjoy it, and therefore, like, I don't get too stressed out about who gets called up because it is because I've always viewed it as an exhibition. And if I ran an exhibition in my local pub, I'd invite whoever I wanted to play there. And if I liked particular players and I wanted to pay them loads of money to come and play my exhibition, I'd reserve the right to do so. And I think that's as soon as everyone just accepts that that's what the Premier League is, people won't work themselves into a frenzy quite as much.
And this comment here, I agree with this as well. That if Bo beats Van Veen in the World Youth Final and has a good Worlds, there will be a surge of interest in Bo for that Premier League spot.
Agreed. I agree. I still don't think it's the right time. I want to see her. I want to see her on the tour. Like, I'm really excited for her to play on that tour and compete on the floor and qualify for things and move through the darts world. And I think there is a push because we've seen Luke come in, because we've seen Littler come in and be so successful, so young. And the world is like this, and it's instant gratification, like the next big thing, give me the next thing, and I think people are really excited, regardless of whether they think it's the best thing for that person or player or not. And I'd just like to see her.
Yeah.
Do I think she'll end up in the Premier League at some point? Yes. Like I genuinely believe that we see Bo Greaves in the Premier League. I don't think that this year there is a great deal of wisdom in forcing her in, or not forcing her, but like.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like forcing her into that lineup, if you like, where you've got all those other players in the mix. And I think you should give her the opportunity just to become a tour card professional for a while and then work on it.
Bo said during her media that she knows she doesn't deserve it, but if she'd offered it, she would accept it. And you're never going to turn that down.
Well, man, I wouldn't. I don't deserve to be called up to the Premier League, but if they offer me it, I'm going to bite their hands off and take the money.
Yeah,
it might never come again. I could, trap my hand in the car door next week and never throw a dart again. Like, if you'd be mad to not say yes.
Oh, 100%. And look, Rob says it there. you have to strike while the iron's hot. You may not get another call. If you
Exactly.
this year, you may not get that call again.
100%.
Right. All roads lead to Minehead.
Mine don't. Mine lead to an electric car charger just outside of Bristol. Then the road will lead to Minehead. I can't do that on one. I can't do that on one charge. I'm afraid. I'm having to. Unfortunately, my range, even in a piece of kit like mine, I haven't got the range to go straight to Minehead. There's at least an hour's stop on the way.
Right. I actually did some prep, and I can go like this.
You clever boy.
This is the round one shed. And I'm going to take the chat room off just a second so everyone can see the draw without that in the way. So that is the round one schedule, afternoon and evening, stage one and the main stage. Now, you can see what I'm talking about.
I can see that Wades, Clayton and Noppet are all in the afternoon and Nathan Aspinall's the main event.
And Gary Anderson, Peter Wright, Chris Dobie are all on stage 2.
Well, Philip, we are going to divide up our coverage of things, and I think that I will probably be the stage 2 correspondent on Friday evening. I think without a shadow of a doubt, I'll be the online darts stage 2 correspondent.
Oh, do you?
I think that's probably where we'll be at. Yeah, I think Gary Anderson, Joe Cullen, Peter Wright, that's a nice game. Russell Nyman's playing in there, but Ryan Searle, I think stage 2 might be getting my attention. Quite right, Bob. It's not Nathan Aspinall main eventing. It's Carol Sedlacek that's main eventing. That's where he is.
That's why Sedler Box is on.
Yeah, he's dragged Nathan Aspinall up to that main event, hasn't he?
Right, let's bring us back into shot. So we are going to do our normal. We're going to break the sections down quarter by quarter and see what we think. Who's gonna come through? Oh, I like that. Anthony, suspend all these rules. Go for the young guns. Littler, Humphries, Rock, Van Veen, Greaves +2. I like that.
So do you know what? Right, I haven't got a problem with and the problem is they'd never do it because the old grumps had moaned too much. But if you could do a one-off Premier League year, you could just theme it and go, under 30s. And stick all the young ones in and just have a Premier League with all the young ones. And it'd be very, very entertaining. It'd be highly entertaining. The 8 best players the 8 best players in the world under 30. It'd be mega. Social media numbers would be better as well, if that's what they care about.
Right. Quarter or section
1
will be Gerwin Price against Max Hopp, Rob Cross against Sebastian Białecki, Martin Schindler against Michael Smith, Neil Zonneveld against Nick Kenny, Stephen Bunting against Richie Edhouse, Daryl Gurney against Brendan Dolan, Cameron Menzies against Adam Lipscomb, and Bradley Brooks against Martin Lukeman. Now, we were talking about Stephen Bunting earlier needing a run. When you need a run, he has got a nice little section to get to at least round 3.
Yes. I have him getting beat in round 3. But yeah, I agree. He'll get there. He will get to round 3. I think Michael Smith has been unlucky. I think there is an absolute shit ton of very winnable first round games in this bracket, or in this tournament.
There's a lot of scope for a lot of people here.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of very winnable first round matches, and I think Michael Smith, especially having had a good week, can probably count himself a bit unlucky to bump into Martin Schindler in the opening round because he's gonna have to catch him cold. Warren's made an interesting point because I'm not sure that I had him in the quarterfinal, but I tell you, that's who I had beating Bunting. I think there's some in. I think we might see a few. I think we might see a couple of it. We always do at Minehead, don't we? We always see some interesting results. Always.
So from section 1, then, who is your quarter final?
My quarter final is Gerwyn Price and Bradley Brooks.
I agree with one of them.
I know which one.
Gerwyn Price.
Is it the one that's not completely fucking rogue?
I think Gerwyn Price plays Cameron Menzies in the quarterfinals.
So I tell you what, I tend to agree. In sort of like I still think it's Brooks, but I think that Menzies and Brooks play each other in the second round, and the winner of that match beats Bunting. Like I think the winner of that match beats Stephen Bunting, and I just think that Brooks will do Menzies. But I think if it's the other way around, then Menzies beats Brooks, then I think he beats Bunting.
Now, section 2, for want of a better phrase, apart from one person, is fucking wide open.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
So we've got Ross Smith against Nico Springer.
Coin toss.
Jeffrey de Graaf against Luke Littler. William O'Connor against Ricardo Pietrezco. Gary Anderson against Mario van den Bohada. Chris Dobie against Keane Barry. Mike De Decker against Cam Crabtree.
Coin toss.
Tommy Clayton against James Hurrell. And Luke Woodhouse against Alan Souter.
Hard this to pick. I don't think it's an easy draw for Littler.
I think he gets past de Graaf comfortably.
Yes. I think he's got a tough game on his hands with Smith or Springer. Either one of them.
Best of 11, I agree.
That's what I mean. Like either one of them in this format, first to 6. If he starts slowly, catches him cold or anything like that, then I think it could be tough in that second round. That'll be an early game as well, because the second round games will all be played in the afternoon, won't they?
Yeah.
So that'll be an early game. So I think that is going to be tough. Obviously, Gary's in there as well. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Both William O'Connor and Ricardo Pietrezco have the potential to be dark horses, not for a title win, but to go on a run at Minehead. I think they've both got the potential in them when it's so compacted to a weekend that if they're at it, either one of them could do a little bit. And then, you move further down. Dobie, I find fuck knows after the other day. Who only knows? It could be 109 average or it could be bobbins. I desperately hope that it's good. But again, I think, Dobie can win a couple of matches and be rewarded by a meeting with Johnny Clayton quite early in the tournament as well. So I think it's a right lottery. But it's Luke Littler, I think. Fucking hell, it's hard, that bottom one. Bullshit. Chris Dobie.
Now, if they meet each other in round 3, I can guarantee you now, Luke Littler against Gary Anderson will be on the main stage, game number 3 of the evening session.
I'll be the main stage correspondent that day.
That will be game number 3 of the 4 on the evening session. I can guarantee you that.
That'll be the session where I'm focusing mainly around the main stage.
I agree. I think Luke comes through the top bit to get to the quarterfinal, and I think he will play Johnny Clayton.
I think it's hard to pick in the bottom of that section. It is tough because we could see all sorts from Dobie. I also think we know that like Cam Crabtree's got a game in him, Mike De Decker's got a game in him, Dobie and Clayton have both got a stinker in them. Luke Woodhouse can just keep winning darts matches. I think it's a real tough. The bottom half of that section is really tough.
Yeah. Who do you mean's got dartitis? If you let me know. How are we doing, Con? I hope you are good. So yeah, I'm going Littler against Johnny in the quarterfinals. Section number 3, Wessel Nyman against Richard Venstra. Sedler Box against Aspinall. Noppet against Evans. Van Dyvenbode against Rasma. Van Veen Humphries. Fuck my life over best of 11. That's brutal. Ratajski against Barney. Josh Rock against Clemens. Williams against White is section 3.
Right.
Is it true there's a player called Martin Lukeman? There is. And if you go, Martin Lukeman.
Luke Lukeman he's gone for. Right. Who? This is. Do you know what? Every time I've picked him, and legitimately, I think I've done it every time. For 5 tournaments this year, like I have repeatedly picked quarter and semi-finals from Danny Noppet, and he doesn't let me down. He's consistently made me look competent at selecting who's going to get to quarter and semi-finals. Therefore, Danny Noppet plays. Ooh, it's definitely not him or him or him. It's definitely not either of those two, which means it's one of 3. Bollocks to it. I tell you what, I'm going bold today.
Oh.
Josh Rock.
Oh, okay.
He owes them both one. And I think that I think Josh Rock is going to breeze through his first 2 games. And then he's going to meet one of the big guys who've already sort of had it out with each other. And yeah, I think I fancy Rock to come through it. Rock and Noppet.
I agree with one of them. I agree with Noppet.
Aren't we in a strange place where we're both consistently agreeing on Danny Noppet going late every single tournament? Every tournament.
100%. I think Noppet, but I think he will play Luke Humphries.
It's one of 3 in it, and it's just what you think might happen and who you think comes through that. Let's be honest, a lot of that decision isn't about Luke Humphries. It's about it's about that first game with Van Veen, isn't it? That's what it is.
Could Van Veen turn Humphries over a best of 11? Absolutely. However,
and if he does, it's game on. It's game on for Rock, I think, as well.
If Humphries comes through that, which I think he'll edge it, then I see him smashing up Barney or Ratajski. Then he'll probably play Josh Rock in the quarterfinals. But by then, it's over best of 19. Do I back against him over that distance? No. So I'm banking on him beating Van Veen.
Yeah, I get that.
Round or quarter number 4. Damon Hetta against Justin Hood. Andrew Gilding against Dom Taylor. Joe Cullen against Peter Wright. James Wade against Mickey Mansell. Jermaine Watamina against Wesley Placia. Dave Chisnell against Ryan Joyce. Darren Beveridge against Ryan Searle. And Kevin Dukes against Callum Ridds. Fuck me.
I tell you what,
Right, I'm calling now. James Wade comes out of that. James Wade's a semi-finalist.
This quarter is like it's wanking. It's like that. I would describe it if I was to, come up with a phrase collectively for most of that list of players. It's like bruised fruit. Like that's what we've got there. We've just got like a big old basket of bruised fruit, and oh God, yeah. It's like we've gathered together all of the players who are currently not able to throw properly and hide them all into one section of the draw. You are correct. James Wade.
I don't see how James Wade doesn't win that whole section.
I think it's literally. I think certainly that bottom half of it is it's who can be the least shit. Like that is that. It's who will turn up and play the least shit. And I'm gonna have to. Will I? Yeah, if he wins that opening game, and he'll win that, then he'll win that. Ryan Joyce.
I'm going
as good as anyone else in there.
Do I go rogue?
Yeah, you almost have to pick any name in there. Like, to pick any of those names in a quarterfinal is rogue, isn't it?
Right. I'm not going to do it, but I really want to go a quarterfinal between Peter Wright and Ryan Searle.
Or to replicate this final a few years ago at this event.
But I'm going to go James Wade against Ryan Searle in the quarterfinals.
How many years ago? When was that, the final? 2021?
Sounds about right.
I was there. There was a storm. My roof blew off. I'll never forget it because the fucking roof blew off the house here. And I came out of that final watching Peter Wright and Ryan Searle to about 17 voicemails from Anna because the roof had blown off. It's tough, yeah. But, I mean, name a hairy dog in that one.
So, chat room, from here, from your quarterfinalists, now let's plot. So, my quarterfinal, I've got Gerwin Price against Cameron Menzies. I'm going Gerwin Price to beat Cameron Menzies in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, well, I've got Getty Price beating Brooks, so I've got Price in the semi as well.
Then I've got Littler against Clayton. I'm going Littler, which sets up my semi-final between Price and Littler.
I'm with you. We are on the same page.
Then I've got Luke Humphries beating Danny Noppet in a last leg decider.
I've got Danny Noppet beating Josh Rock. Not in a last leg decider.
And then I've got James Wade beating Ryan Searle. So I would have Humphries against Wade.
Who am I going to have on that last? Well, yeah, James Wade is winning that. So I've got Noppet against Wade.
So I want, chat room, your winner and who they beat in the final based on your... I can't believe that this is done on how you do on the Pro Tour, and yet again they're in opposite halves and we're not even seeding them 1 and 2.
It's just the way the world works, isn't it?
So who are you going for?
Final.
Yeah, and who they beat?
The winner of the 2025 Players' Championship Finals will be, and there's a reason why this is, because this will make him the new, soon-to-be world number 4, Danny Noppet, will beat Luke Littler in the final. And he'll get in the top 4 in the world and he'll create the biggest headache because we like to manifest chaos. And chaos is what we're manifesting. And Danny Noppet wins in the final.
I am going... I can't see past it.
You got them both in, have you, again?
I can't see past it because I don't think anyone gets them early and then you're not beating them over that longer format.
Danny Noppet is.
I'm going for a repeat.
He owes him one from this week, doesn't he?
I'm going for a repeat final. I'm going for a different winner. Humphries to edge this one and set up the Titanic Worlds tussle for the Sid Waddell Trophy.
Backwards and forwards, between those two?
Yeah. Oh, going to be carnage in Minehead.
It certainly is.
Now, Luke Humphries dropped a comment in. It might have been a flippant remark. I might be reading into it too much, but it's a conversation that we've certainly had in our WhatsApp chat, that he doesn't plan on playing any, or he's thinking about the idea of not playing any Pro Tours next year.
Fine with me.
No. I don't think he's potentially the only one.
I don't think he would be. And I think if he did, and also if he was the only one, I don't think he would be for very long, because people would see this lovely quality of life that he's got and all the time he's got at home with the kids and his family for the sake of missing out on one weekend in Minehead. He make that money up on one TV tournament, won't he? What's he earned on the Pro Tour this year? Let's have a look. $101.
No. There's a reason I'm bringing this up. MVG missed it this year. Luke Humphries may miss it next year. Let's just say Littler joins him and goes, I can't be asked for Pro Tours. I've said this for a while. Within 2 to 3 years, I think the top 16 in the world will be in everything. I've said this time and time again. If you're a sponsor or a broadcaster and the best players are not there, you are going to have the hump.
Correct.
That's reality. Is with the greatest one in the world, you're sponsoring an event to have your brand associated with Littler, Humphries, Van Gerwen, Van Veen, Price, Aspinall, and so on. You're not sponsoring the event to have your brand associated. And I don't mean this horribly with Neil Zonneval, Mario van den Bohada, and Mensur Suljovic.
No. I 100% you are right. But then that is a commercial problem for the PDC to incentivize people to play these Pro Tour events.
There's another incentivization. You just top 16 are in.
Perhaps, yeah.
I genuinely think we are getting to a point where I think the top 16 will get that privilege.
It's going to be harder when you then have Premier League players that aren't included in that top 16, though, isn't it? You're still not going to capture all your big names because, unfortunately, all your big names aren't going to sit inside the top 16. Too many good players. They don't now, do they?
But that's down to them then to do well on TV and stay there.
Yeah.
But I think, and I don't think it's far away, I can see the top 16 being seeded into everything.
It wouldn't surprise me. Like I try not to have too strong views on it because we refer to rule number 1, and rule number 1 isn't Dan Simpson gets his own way. So and because I accept that there is that rule that exists, then I try not to get too worked up about it because I know it's beyond my control, and they'll end up just doing what they fancy, won't they? So. Yeah, but again, it wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be sat, you're not going to find me in 12 months, 16 months' time sat here going, bloody hell, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there, but I can see it happening. Also, obviously, off the back of the slam as well, that we asked Luke about Angry Ginge going, because someone just said in the jungle, and we were like, would you ever fancy it? He was like, if the price was right.
He wouldn't. It's the wrong time of year, isn't it? He couldn't play the Worlds.
How long does I'm a Celeb go on for?
Fucking too long. Well, whatever the answer is, it's too. If it's longer than an hour, it's too fucking long. I assume that if they've just started it this week and it's November, you couldn't go and have it must be longer than 4 weeks, surely.
3 weeks. He could.
He can.
He can.
Maybe, I don't know. Really? Price is not going to be right, though, is it? Like, let's be fucking really honest, right? I think I'd only really heard of one person in there this year, maybe. And that tells me they're not paying the big bucks. Like they can't be, can they? They can't be paying mega money, because if you look at the level of celebrity that they've been able to attract, like there isn't a, world leading sportsman, is there? Because they can't compete. They can't. They're not paying that amount of money.
I think what I saw is, again, this is just reported, that the highest was 200 grand.
Yeah, and that's the very highest, isn't it?
Yeah. But could you imagine the exposure you get off by doing it? It would be huge.
Again, I think everyone's different, aren't they? I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than go through any of that. I think it's mad, but each to their own. Each to their own. Why you'd want to put yourself in that situation, crawling through shit and eating all sorts, innards. Again, it's not for me.
It would be interesting that
it always seems. I've not. But the other thing is, like, where I do have to warn up is, like, I don't watch these shows, so I might be quite misinformed on them and just maybe have prejudged them. But I always feel like when you look at the list of people and you look at who's in every year, it either seems to be like a last cash grab from people on the way down in their career, or a desperate attention seek from people on the way up in their career, trying to create more. It's either people trying to get more exposure, or it's people trying to grab some coin on their way out. And I don't really, I don't really have any problem with either one of those things. It's just not for me. And I think it says, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, well, would it be a really good thing for darts to have the world number one in your sport go on that? But I think if we said it about another sport, it'd be completely fucking laughable. I think if we said that Rory McIlroy was going to go in I'm a Celebrity and he was going to have a year, like 2 months off playing golf to go and dick around in the jungle eating donkey's cocks, then people would think that's really silly. And it would. And I think when darts is growing and really growing properly as a sport, I'm not sure that it. I don't know. It feels a bit.
Okay, I get the point about the world number one, but I also think having someone from darts in there would be good for the sport.
I completely agree. So yes, 100%. And there are plenty of people in this sport that I would love.
Who would you like?
Imagine my phone bill, but bang, 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 bang. How many texts can you get where they can eat a kangaroo's anus or something like that? I'll be fucking texting. Man, I'd never stop. But again, I don't think it's great for a sport. When you're trying to have it viewed as like a proper legit sport, that's what your current world number one is. Again, I don't think there's any other sport where the current world number one would be going and engaging in nonsense like that. But I think there are an awful lot of people that I wouldn't mind seeing. Chris Mason would be brilliant. I wouldn't wish upon him some of the things that he would have to do. However, Chris would be very, very, very good value. He'd be very good entertainment.
Off the top of my head, I had 4 names that instantly sprung to mind, which could work. Sorry, Mace. I think you would be good at it. Mace.
He would.
Russ Bray, someone said in the chat room.
Yeah.
Wayne Mardle.
Perfect.
Adrian Lewis.
Yeah.
Teresa's gone. Ricky.
The thing is with those people is the 4 of those people all have some recognition beyond that of just a dart player on the telly, don't they? They all have the casual people. Like, man would recognize them. That's how I sort of, whereas And whereas I think there are people from darts.
Oh, I would pay good money. Not Whitlock. He moved. Burnett.
Oh, I'd pay good money to see a couple of names in there eat a kangaroo's anus. There's a couple of names in there I'd fucking force feed him given the chance. Yeah, Burnett would be good. That would be cracking. James Wade would be fucking brilliant. James Wade would be brilliant value in that situation. I think his outlook on the world and his honesty and I think his individual approach to thinking would be very refreshing. I'd like to see that. And yeah, I don't get me wrong, I'm not against it. I'm not against it because I think it's quite good. In terms of, yeah, you could send one of the Australians. That'd be easier, wouldn't it? Sending Whitlock or Hetter or someone like this to visit home for a minute. Steve Beaton would be good.
Would you do it?
No, absolutely not. It's fucking beneath me. No, I wouldn't. No, there's not enough. Like again, because I just think you're whoring yourself out for attention and money, and I genuinely have no interest in. Like if I want to be financially better off than I currently am, I'll emigrate to a country where I don't have to pay as much tax. Like that's what I would do, rather than forcing down blended up genitals. Like yeah, there's a fair point. Like God makes is I refused to stay in a travel lodge because it was a bit fucking rough. So the jungle is probably not quite suited to my tastes. But no, but I can't do it for 50 grand because I'll pay half of that's fucking gone to the tax man, innit? So you're only getting 25 anyway. So it's like, no, I can't.
Oh, I would pay good money for Vincent Marcus. Agreed.
I mean, don't get me right. And I do think because darts is littered, isn't it, with characters. Like darts is fully littered with completely bananas characters. So you could make. I mean, you could make up a lineup. You could do 10 of darts players that would be particularly fun. But again, I've always fancied the idea of doing. So WWE did this because they had their network and they had to fill all of their. Like that, basically 24 hours a day with TV programming, and they were looking at programming that they could make on the cheap. But were you ever aware of the program that they made called Legends House?
No.
So picture in your head, Big Brother,
yeah, but
exclusively filled with like Hall of Famers, and they called it Legends House. And they got them to do like funny challenges each day. And it was like, if you look at the lineup for it, once we finish the show, have a look at that show, right? And I guarantee you'll think, I'll fucking watch that. Like, that's good. But, you could do something similar to that. It'd be piss funny. Yeah, Bristow was in the jungle, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And that was a really good success.
Yeah, that went well, I think. And I think he came across well, didn't he? People liked him. I don't think he won it, but I think people enjoyed him, didn't they?
Yeah, it was good. I think it would work. Yeah, no, I don't dislike it, shall we say?
I think I prefer the idea of a Big Brother style show filled with darts legends.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. And look, the more coverage darts can get, maybe not through, like we say, current players, but legends and so on that can bring other demographics in, like Luke has done, is good for the sport. I think so. That would be good. I don't dislike that idea and possibility. Just in the players' room at an exhibition. Right, what have we missed in a week of darts? Because I've been what's gone on?
I'm really sorry, but he just reminded me in there. Big Johnny said, and it was tragic. Gene Oakland just pissed up, crying all the time, and I just think like that. I imagine the darts version can be fucking beautiful.
So yeah, obviously, because I was in the bubble of Cristo Reyes and Big Bad Boris Kirchmar are back at the Worlds.
Hey.
Yes.
Top results.
Yeah, look, Cristo Reyes, he averaged, I think he was about 95 in the final. That was solid enough from him.
Yeah, perfect. That'll get the job done.
I tell you what, it was almost a disaster for the WDF that their number one seed, Jimmy Van Schie, was beaten in a final by Andy Bartons. Now, because the draw was out, the replacement would come in as the number one seed. That was almost a disaster for them.
Correct. Yeah, they've gone close to the wire there, haven't they?
Yeah. Boris can play in this one yet. Super Darts is over by then, so he'll have plenty of time to get back from Japan. But yeah, that would. And say, by the way, I'm not blaming the WDF or anything like that, but it just would have been a disaster that their draws out, their schedules out, and then the number one seed isn't there. He then qualifies for Ali Pali.
Not ideal.
It could have been chaos. Yeah, but it wasn't. And Andy Bartons, look, he still needs a lot to save his card. Oh, that's what I was going to bring up on, was the tour card race. Because of Lucas Vennick's heroics,
What a run.
Matt Campbell is now outside the 64. So he now has to win a game and hope someone else doesn't.
Yeah, and also, but interestingly enough, so the certainly the two players above him, Mario van den Bahara and James Hurrell, are both playing in Minehead as well at the weekend.
Yes, they've got, obviously, round one money is on their tallies as it is, but they can add to that.
That's it.
This is, look, at the moment, Robert Owen is not at Ali Pali. The tour card holder qualifier, depending on the draw, he may only have to win 3 games to get there. Now, if he does, tour card safe, not an issue. Did we ever see, or until the money went up, I never thought I'd see a player potentially losing their card on £95,500.
No, well, I think, we said the other week, didn't we? 100's going to be the safety. Like 100 grand is going to be the threshold.
Net. Yeah.
I quite like the round numberness of that. I think as a target, I think it's quite a nice. It's nice to have a round figure. But yeah, I think 100 grand is going to be where people will feel safe this time next year. And I think unless you have 100 grand, you're not going to feel safe, because there's still money to be had, and there's still money to be earned by. There's certainly a few. Obviously, there's a few of them where we know, in that list, even towards the top of it, Florian Hempel, Stephen Burton, their cards are gone because they aren't going to Minehead. They haven't qualified for the World Championships. They've got one opportunity, which is the tour card.
Yeah,
qualifier. That's it. All their cards are gone. There's nothing. They're not qualified.
You could easily see Sedlacek winning a game at the Worlds, and then he leaps again. So
exactly, yeah, those lads are under threat
at the moment. Rob Owen's card, unless he gets to the World, is in huge danger.
So, yeah, I was just trying to work out, but it's we still need to get, once we get through this weekend, because things are going to change again this weekend, because a bunch of those players that are both just inside, but also a number of players that are outside are playing this weekend, and there is still money to be earned. Darren Beveridge looks doomed, but he's got 2 lots of opportunity. He's got 2 tournaments still to play in.
And he started to play well as well. Look,
yeah, this is it.
He's got winning a couple of games. Yes, I could.
And he, he's still there within it, and he's not only is he got a chance, but like he's going to play at the events. He can go and earn some money. That those that are the likes of Hempel and Burton, they're going to have to hope that they come through that qualifier. But Matt Campbell, Chris Landman, Darren Beveridge, Steve Lennon, like they, a couple of wins could make things really, really interesting. I tell you what I didn't think, Phil, and just while we're looking at the tour card race, and I did not see a scenario 2 or 3 years ago where in this short period of time I would go from watching him in the Premier League to watching Jose de Sousa lose his card.
Yeah, and I don't see him getting it back either.
No. Well, as I say, he again, he's not qualified for anything. He's a fucking mile away. Even if he comes through the tour card qualifier, he's still a mile off. But again, it doesn't seem a long time since first night back after COVID, wasn't it? The Premier League in Milton Keynes, those three double tops for the 120 checkout, and it was all leaping off our seats.
He loses his voice and
broke the COVID rules by hugging everyone around me. It was and it just doesn't seem like a very long time, and it's been some fall that I think.
Yeah, 100%. So this is right. There won't be fallouts for the Players' Championship because we are all in Minehead. Now, the tour card holder qualifier, there will be no stream, but potentially there is going to be a stream for the draw. Let me explain.
Ooh, we might have to speak about that.
Right, okay.
I might be able to stream that.
Are you driving home that night then?
I was thinking of driving home after the final, and I'm off work on the Monday because I know I'll get home late. If
Dan drives home, then we might be streaming.
We don't normally do our planning live on the show.
So
TBC, it's to be confirmed. We may have. I think I can probably be put to better use by traveling straight home on a Sunday night.
So the reason we say this is because I'm in central London for the World's Media Day on Monday afternoon, so I can't stream. I teed up Jar to do the stream for the World Draw, and if you want to do the qualifier and then jump on with Jar,
I might be able to get home to do it. I'm off the Monday. The only reason it might not happen is if I go to London with Phil, and I don't know it, but it may happen. It may happen. So there's not a hard no. It's a TBC.
We will discuss after the show, and we will confirm with you in due course.
Yeah, it's not a hard no. It's a TBC.
Yeah. But yeah,
it could even be streamed from somewhere in London. Who knows? Like, where there's a will, sometimes there is a way. I'll tell you what. So I'm gonna the other thing as well, because there's been a lot of it. It's because you've come on in your lovely new yellow hoodie tonight, right? And you've given an awful lot of interest in the chat room as to where can we get a t-shirt and where can we get a Christmas jumper. Right, Phil and I are in Minehead together for a few days this weekend. I'm pretty sure that we can get something out.
Like, I'm not going to lie. Dan set it up, but I had a look at it and I got confused. I haven't got a fucking clue.
I'm pretty sure, right? So we're together. We don't spend a lot of time together because we're on opposite ends of the country, but we are going to be in the same hotel for a few days and in the same venue. So I reckon that by...
Oh, hello. You might have a...
Oh, wow.
Oh.
This is almost worth the 5-hour drive home at midnight, isn't it? This is almost worth the 5-hour drive home at midnight if we could make a bit more of a show of it.
We can make this work. So potentially on Monday, we're going to have a qualifier stream, a draw stream, and the live lounge.
Yeah.
Monday could be epic, boys.
And also, like, honestly, I think that by Monday, if me and Phil work really hard, and I pin him down, like tie him to a chair for an hour in the hotel and make him look at my laptop, I reckon we could probably get some hoodies and t-shirts on.
Yeah,
I reckon.
I'm not going to lie. Dan did a lot of hard work and set it up. I looked at it and I was like, I haven't got a blooming clue.
I reckon that by next Monday we might be able to share some links after the show, or even in the chat room.
There you go.
I think we could be there, and this is it's prime time as well for Christmas presents, and I think that we might be able to also get printing carried out both in the UK, Central Europe, and North America, so that we could probably have some fairly short lead times on delivery to both North America and Europe.
Yeah. Again, yeah, Rob is absolutely bang on. If you haven't yet, make sure you join our Discord group. The chat was good over the weekend or in the tournament in there. So that was good. So right, everyone, you guys have rocked it tonight. Tonight has been an incredible show, and this will be available as an audio only in the morning as well. But it is a busy, busy week. We have got content coming out. We've got interviews with Fallon Sherrock, Joe Cullen, off the top of my head, Daryl Fitton, and Edward Lowy, Unicorn Chairman. They will all be out this week. Then exhibition on Wednesday night before Minehead. Minehead, plenty of content as always, plenty of short form content as well coming your way. Dan's got a new gimbal to try. Then we've got the media day next week. 3 streams by the sounds of it, including Dan, Jar, and the wonderful Anthony as well. So it is busy, busy times on that channel. If you haven't yet, you've got to hit that subscribe button right now. Right now. Come on. You know what to do. Do it. So there is plenty coming your way. We will confirm on social media in the next day or so, precise timings and whatever. But you guys have smashed it tonight. We have been Online Darts. I've been Phil Bars, Dan Simpson. We have enjoyed the show immensely, and we will see you all very, very soon.